Hi guys, and welcome to another Divi video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've been showcasing a plugin lately. It's called Divi Hover Effects, and you get 250 of these image to text hover effects here, and they've got some fantastic effects. They really do. And like I say, you get about 250. Not only do they do the image to text, they do an image swap effect too. Now this plugin's on sale for the moment from $50 down to $15, which is a great saving and represents great value for money. But some of these, with a little bit of work, Divi's come a long way. You can actually build yourself with no or very little coding. And today we're going to build a sort of hover effect image swap where the image comes in diagonally from the right hand side. That's a nice little effect to have on your site. So let's get started. There we go. And don't get me wrong, the Divi Image Hover Effects plugin represents great value for money, but if you want to learn to do a few of these things yourself, it's what we're going to do with this series. So let's get started. First thing I want to do is enable the Visual Builder. Let's go down to where we want to work. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to add a new row. I'll put 2 columns in, seeing as that's what we got with the other ones here. Okay, I'm not going to put anything in just yet. I'm going to go into the actual row, which is the green tab, blue for a section, green for a row, dark tab for a module. I'm going to go into the row, and I'm going to put a background image in our first column here, and that's the image that we'll see initially. So let's go in there, little cog. There's our 2 columns, left, right. We're going to go into the left one. Let's move this out of the way. You won't see anything because there's no height to this column yet because it hasn't got any content. But I'm going to go ahead and put a background image in there. Got color, gradient, image and video. Now remember, this is the one that's going to show initially. This is not the one that's scaling in. So let's choose a picture. I guess we'll have that little fella right there. And as I can see, it's in there, but you won't be able to see anything because there's no height to our column yet. So now we've got our background in there. Let's hit the little black button there and add a module. And I'll add an image today. Divi comes as standard with all of these modules, plenty enough to build just about any site. If you have WooCommerce installed, it'll add an extra dozen too to help you sell your products. Now I'm looking for the image module. There it is right there. Now I just need to choose my image that I want to go over the top. And I guess we'll use this one. Kind of makes your eyes go a bit funny, that picture. Okay, so we've got our image in there. Now we've got to think about what we want it to do. When we're not hovering over it, we don't want to see this image at all. We just want to see the one that's behind it. And also, when we're not hovering over it, this wants to be small so that when we hover over it, it sort of scales up from the bottom left to the top right. So let's make it small first. To do that, let's go to our Design tab, down to our spacing. And I'm going to add some padding. I'm going to say sort of 300 on the top. There you go, that's pushed it down 300 pixels. And let's give it 300 on the right. And there we go, that's pushed it left by 300 pixels. So we've got it starting off down there, and we want it to grow and fill the whole image. So that's when we're not hovering over it. When we are hovering over it, we don't want any of that padding. We want it to be regular size. And this is common to all Divi modules. If you hover over some dark legending there, these icons will appear. If you've got an arrow and left click on it, it'll give you a desktop state. Basically, that's the state when your mouse is not on top of an element. And a hover state. Obviously, that's when your mouse is hovering over the element. So for desktop, we want it to be like it is, 300 pixels. Right and top, so it's in the bottom corner there. When we hover over it, we want no padding, 0. 0. So we've got our full image there. Great. And that's going to take care of most of our problems there. Now the time it takes to do this, the default on Divi is 300 milliseconds. That's a little too fast for me. So I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to go to my advanced. I'm going to go down to transitions. Transition duration. I'm going to take mine up to about a second, a little bit over, somewhere around there. Don't want any delay. I want it to happen straight away when I put my mouse on there. Transition speed curve. I like ease in out. Play with these. They do slightly different things, but I tend to fall back to ease in out. I tend to use that a lot. It sort of eases in and speeds up. Then when you take your mouse off, it eases out and speeds up. Now you may have noticed there when I hovered over, you saw a little 9. Believe it or not, that's the title of the top image here. Now if you don't want your title to show up here when you hover over it, we'll go to our Advanced tab again, close up Transitions. You'll find Attributes under Custom CSS. There's the title. Simply delete it if you don't want to see it, or put in a title that you do want to see. You've got an Alt Text tab there. Really, alt text should be used to describe the image itself. A lot of people do put in keywords or geolocation data and stuff. Use it as you will, but the correct use of it is really to describe the image itself. Alright, well, hopefully if we've done everything right, we should be good to go now. Now, before I exit and save and check this out, the only thing other thing I want to point out, if we go back to design and the spacing and the padding, I'm sure you figured this out yourself. On the desktop, if you wanted it to come from this side, well, obviously you'd put your padding on the left. If you wanted it to come up from here, you put it on the bottom. So you can do this anywhere, but I just happen to be doing it from bottom left to top right. So let's see if this is going to work for us today. Now let's save our draft, or publish page if you're ready. Okay. Let's exit the Visual Builder. Let's go down and see what we've got. Alright, well, that's kind of working just about right. We forgot one little thing. Don't want to actually see it at all when we're not hovering over it. But it's growing and filling just like we wanted it to. But when the mouse is not on it, I don't want to see it there at all. So to fix that, we could even make it a bit smaller if you wanted to. Add another 50 pixels either way with the padding. But to fix this, I need to set the opacity filter, or the see-throughness transparency, so that it's invisible there and comes in when we hover over it. So let's do that, and I think we're done. Alright, so let's go into our module here. I'm even going to make that image a bit smaller by adding a little bit more padding. So design, spacing. Let's take that to say 350. And we'll do the same for the right hand one. That way it won't change the height. There we go. And also we want to make it invisible when we're not hovering over it. So still in design, let's shut up spacing. And we'll go to filters, just a couple below. And we're going to go down to opacity, or see-throughness, or transparency. Now again, here's our little arrow when we hover over the legending. We're going to select that. So on desktop, I don't want to see it at all. When we're not hovering over it, I want it to be invisible, so I'll take that down to 0. Then when we are hovering over it, I want it to be fully visible, full size, just like that. And again, the time it takes to go from invisible to visible is dictated by our transition duration right there. So let's save that, and hopefully it should do exactly what we want. Alright, that's better. We can't see that image now. Now when we roll over it, you see that image diagonally fades in from the bottom left. Like I say, you can do that from bottom right, top left, top right, however you like to do it. So there you have it. There is how to scale in an image from bottom left to top right using no coding, just using the inbuilt features of Divi. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have, please ring the bell, give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and WebDesignAndTechTips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.